Hello, welcome to the Hackurate podcast, episode 10. I am Aaron Howell.
I'm Nathan Goodman.
How's it going? Episode 10. We made it. 10 episodes.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
Nice.
Seemed it was a long way off when we started, and now here we are already. We started in May.
And it's a good cap, too, with the Stars on Mars finale we're going to cover.
Yeah, we're going to cover
do
the
some
Stars
other
on Mars.
Random things.
Maybe talk a little 60 days in. Maybe. We'll see if we get there. It's been wild. Oh, man. I'm just feeling so wrecked from that exercise earlier. A lot more tired than I thought I would. Also, though, probably eating that double bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, geez. Yeah.
So my body's probably like, what are you doing?
And we're recording in the nighttime.
In the nighttime, I've had some coffee,
in the
smoked some
PM.
weed. Oof.
PM.
Wired.
Yeah. Oh, really? Nice. Coffee's hitting.
Well, it's like, I'm definitely feeling more up now. Thankfully, that coffee's really hitting. But maybe a little too much. Really vibrating over here. What do you think about that Stars on Mars finale?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can totally get into that.
Go ahead and dunk on that. Not dunk on it.
I enjoyed it. It was a little weird. I thought the voting people off, it was like a 3-step process to getting the last 5 people off. It went from a group vote to narrow down into the last 3, and then a challenge to get it down to the last 2, and then one more challenge for the final. But having 2 people essentially probably vote themselves off or get voted off by the only other 3 people there, it's pretty funny. But also, I guess it follows the mission critical idea they've had the whole time.
Yeah, I think the weirdest part was just not having a challenge for it.
Because how are the people coming in on the second wave, which there were 2 of them, 2 from the second wave, 3 from the first? How would anybody from the second wave
hope to win?
Been mission critical enough to be more than anybody from the first?
They wouldn't.
It seemed impractical.
Mathematically, you're absolutely correct.
Unless they were so for the team that it was crazy, or they were doing everything. They were mission critical every round. I don't know. It was bizarre. But so they spoilers, but they kicked out the 2 from the second wave. So it was only 3 from the first wave as the finals: Portia, Tinashe, and Adam.
Yep.
And yeah, it was good. They had a quiz to narrow down the last 2, and that was cool.
It was all very fast.
The quiz was cool. Yeah, it definitely happened fast. They had to go from 5 to 1 in one episode. It was crazy. Yeah. It's unheard of in
seems like things
a game like
rushed.
this.
Yeah, I wonder if there was that was
I had to be
leading
planned
towards the strike. Maybe there was word of it that it might happen, so they had to rush production.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. It seemed like they had it planned with William Shatner coming in the last 2 episodes and hanging out.
Yeah.
And then just kind of being able to go into the last challenge without too much effort. It wasn't supposed to go that long. It was timed anyway.
Yeah.
So it was at the end of the 2 months?
That was 30 days.
30 days, 1 month?
Yeah, we've been
only
watching
30 days in on Mars.
30 days on Mars. What's intake like? It's brutal.
Oh, God. It's actually 6 years going from Earth to Mars and then just 30 days on Mars.
Yeah, intake is the trip there. Oof.
You might end up fucking marrying somebody on the spaceship. Oop, I swore in the first 5 minutes. Whoops doodles. Doesn't matter at this point. We have done that
every time. Or at least I know I have.
I feel like I've done pretty good a couple times.
I'm usually
incidentally not done it.
Usually I think it's in the 5 to 8 minute mark. Is my average.
That's funny.
Now I'll look and be like, oh, there it was.
But I don't know. There was the physical aspect to the final challenge. I don't know. That's what I was saying earlier. Is I don't want to talk the smack, and Portia was definitely capable, but I don't feel like she would have been able to do all the running around and plugging stuff in to do the final step. It would have just been a lot more of a train wreck to watch, probably.
Yeah, well, Tinashe.
And then the other person just would have won.
Yeah, Tinashe had the advantage too. She said she's a gamer, so it's like a puzzle problem situation.
Right.
Run around, you got to solve these situations. These
it's a puzzle level.
Simple brain games.
It's a puzzle level.
Kind of.
A strange old man who showed up in a weird place, not dressed as you, because William Shatner was just dressed in a
He had
jacket and
no
pants,
spacesuit on.
and they all had
Hilarious.
spacesuits on. I was like, they should have just gone like a hologram at each spot, but
That would have been
that
cool.
probably would have cost more than
A
just
lot.
having him show up and stay the
Yeah.
night. He was probably like,
Oh,
I'll
yeah,
stay in a
he's-
simulator.
he
That's cool. I
stayed
stayed on a
last
spaceship
night.
for a majority of my 30s. I might as well. Oops.
Right? I might as well just be
A Martian
fulfill
for
my arc.
a few days. Yeah.
be as
I've been to
spaceman as
almost space,
possible.
and now I can go to almost space again in a different way.
But I'm gonna do what I've always done. I'm not wearing a spacesuit. I'm just gonna walk out onto the planet's surface in just a shirt.
I gotta look good.
Right? Scotty, take us down.
Beaming noises.
Yeah, I can't. That was a whale. It's a hard one. Because like I can see the effect very clearly, but
Almost
they
like
like fade.
It's a fade in and fade out for sure. But it does have like a tone. It's not just a shushing.
It's like multi-tonal.
It's tonal,
though. There's,
yeah.
multiple things on top, layered.
That's what we need to add to our teleporting ideas is sound.
Yeah.
We need to use sound to move apart the molecules and then format them into a data stream and then shoot them in a direction and hope it hits its target and hope it all stays in the same shape of a data stream and you don't show up with your arm as your leg and your leg is your ear and your ear is your penis. It's a mess.
So we need fiber optic cables between wherever you're using sound then, right? Because sound and glass kind of go hand in hand.
No,
Or
that's
sound
just the
and light,
beginning
not
part.
glass,
That's just
but
the beginning part to
li-
destabilize the molecules and get them all separated, turn them into a data form.
Yeah. Oh, well, so you're saying to vibrate the molecules into a data form?
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because wouldn't you have to shunt them into like the negative space that data is stored in?
Well, but the first step is the separating part. Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
just say that.
So you got to vibrate them
my
apart.
science.
And then collect them with something else.
That's what I'm
and then
saying.
Store them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the vibrating's just the very beginning part.
I mean,
so
teleporting
it's
is
just
going to
finding
be
a
like
person's resonance and then just being like tuning fork.
It's going to be a 10-step process for sure, at least. It's got to be like separating, then storing, then ordering, and then compressing, and then moving, and then decompressing, and then ordering, reverse ordering.
I watched enough Stargate. You're describing the exact process.
But yeah, we'll do it.
That's wormholes.
We'll do it. First, we need to do it with fish. And, maybe he should have Neuralinked fish. Maybe he should have been doing that before monkeys.
Yeah, heads up, apparently.
So here's a story, fun news story that just broke or is breaking in the process of breaking that I'm sure it has already been covered somewhere. But the Neuralink isn't going so great in the experimenting process. No. Elon Musk is wiring up monkeys and they're
trying to connect them.
More than a 50% death rate, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping nobody goes, that's fine, until it's down to like maybe a 10% death rate or less. Because, I mean, why even bother? I mean, I feel like most people he's trying to solve their problems would just be like, I'd rather be deaf than run the risk of that. And also, what do we know about our experimenting on monkeys? Wasn't our whole pool of experimental mice tainted with their long, elongated alleles? So
yeah, but
what if
isn't that just like part of the problem that people are trying to avoid acknowledging anyways? With science, where it's just like, we're not even finding the flaws in how our scientific process keeps us from doing like perfect science.
Sure.
Or I guess true science. I don't want to say perfect.
I mean, maybe something
honest science.
Maybe something about doing like mechanical robot stuff is different than the chemical type things that you would see in like those experiments.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm talking totally out of my Star Trek. I'll just say that whenever I want.
Star Trek.
Insert scientific explanation. Because they did it once on this. Because that time they chemically nuked planets in Deep Space Nine.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, war crime.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The whole season might as well be called Star Trek War Crimes 9.
Whoa.
They do them.
They do a lot of war crimes.
I can always just remember the end scene of Like, there's this whole episode of like Cisco monologuing the commander guy about
Yeah.
like the episode, and it flashbacks to something.
Yeah.
In the end, he's like, "Can I live with what I've done? Can I live with all the people?" And then he just looks off distantly and goes,
Yes.
"I can live with that." Then he goes, "Computer, delete log." And you're just like, man, this is getting
You
so
gotta
dark.
Burn the evidence.
But he had to fight. He was fighting shapeshifters. They were out here.
Ooh,
He
man.
didn't know what to do. You know,
That's fair. Shapeshifters are tricky.
They could be commies.
They could be anybody.
They could be socialists.
They could literally be anybody.
They could be capitalists on the very top.
They could be capitalist socialists because
Right.
they could be half
What
one
were all
person,
the,
half
what were
another.
the, what were the
if they're
5 types
trained
of
well
what
enough.
were the other types of aliens that guys were talking about finding? It was like the ones we don't know about yet.
Oh,
'Cause it was like lizard grays, the other ones,
like
the tall whites.
Yeah, tall whites, shapeshifters.
But then there's like 2
there's
more.
insectoids, reptilians.
Oh, we have insectoids.
Yeah, that's general lore, though. I think pre
What-
all of this.
We should have been paying attention during that
disclosure.
interview.
It was. Oh no, that was just so much. It was so dense.
It was
more
very
of-
dense.
I think
I got hung
just,
up
I
on
just
the-
gleaned a gestalt information from it.
I got hung up on the Japanese fucking place getting attacked by balloon-sized whatevers or whatever, like
hundreds.
2,000 like small
I don't think it was
unidentified
2,000.
floating entities. He said it was a lot. Was it 200?
I thought it was a couple hundred.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I thought it was 200.
in the hundreds.
Yeah,
More than 100, less than 1,000 probably.
but you know,
Swarming.
10 is a lot if you're talking about UFOs.
Swarming
So I'm just throwing that
in a
out there.
hive mind type way. Is that why we've had that as a bit since a while?
What do you
Before the
mean?
Borg, I mean,
Oh.
hive mind aliens has definitely been a concept for a
no,
while.
I think that just was something.
Came from ants.
I think
us
that's
knowing about
that's,
ants.
what's it called parallel thinking.
Yeah.
I think because you have these people who are artists creating these stories, but like stories come out of somewhere, like maybe the idea realm,
Bugs.
and they're just
Observing creatures and being like, "That's an alien now."
yeah,
in my story.
or being like, oh yeah, here's.
I don't think
that's the
anybody's
way
copying. I mean, that's a perfectly
nature works. So
perfectly
why not
reasonable
have
idea
a
to copy.
species? Like that's I'll toot sci-fi's horn all day long. It's the glory of sci-fi is the people looking forward, because when you read books from like the 60s, 70s, and some of the tech that people will have humanity using in the future, but from that perspective in time, you're just like, man, people are calling similar things left and right.
Yeah.
It's not just like, a really popular one is like the tricorder being like a flip cell phone from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Or, the sliding doors. That was a thing that Star Trek invented.
Yeah.
And then became use in just buildings.
Yeah.
But there's tons of things like that.
Yeah.
And, there's like I was reading this one book, I believe it's from 80s, maybe early 90s, called Hero's Journey, Hiero. Anyways, it's post-apocalyptic United States, and like everything got nuked, as far as I can guess. There's giant animals just everywhere, and the people are roaming around using magic. But like they have versions of like GPS maps, but it's using magic with like moving light indicators instead of like electronic digital screens. So just wild similar stuff.
Yeah.
But
Similar to
not
like
quite on
touch
the
screens.
ball.
Similar to like
Yeah.
touch screens and like heads up displays and
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you have like tracking capability on a map, like the idea of that being used.
right. And now cars come standard with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and we didn't have that as I remember when my dad bought an actual GPS device. Like that was like a legit, like like a hiking GPS, not a car GPS, and being like, wow, that's crazy that
Yeah.
you can like track how high you're going, your elevation, you track where you are. I was like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And now it's just like I'm so glad my phone knows where I am.
Yeah, your phone does all that. My dad had the first, like, he was just on top of the iPhone. Like, he hung around with, like, the idea of buying, like, technology, but he didn't, like, stay, like, current until the iPhone started dropping. And then he was like,
Yeah.
getting the iPhone, getting the one, getting the two, getting the next one, getting
Yeah.
the next one. Now he's just like, fuck Apple. I don't want any part of it. And honestly, this is just calling him out. I think he does it just because he doesn't want to have to teach my stepmom how to wield her iPhone. And now whenever she's like, how do you do this thing? He's just like, I don't know. I don't have an iPhone. And he just shrugs. And then she's like, well, I guess I'll go figure it out. And then she goes, I guess you will. And then that's that.
hilarious.
And I'm just like, I guess this is the weirdest, most like aggressive, passive aggressive move. But also, like, it works. And like, I don't,
Very
you know,
effective.
people, you know, it doesn't hurt to learn how your technology works. I'm always,
True.
I'm going to coin a term before anybody else takes it. Don't let your tools turn you into tools. So, like, learn how to use your thing or look it up. It's there. Or have patience when somebody's trying to tell you.
Use your tools. Don't let your tools use you. Something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. I mean, I like it, but it feels like someone might have said it before.
I've said it before. I've been saying it for years to you.
Have you patented it?
No, of course not.
Trademark?
I try to be consistent when I hit a belief that I believe in, and I'm just like, yeah, I agree with that. That's middle ground enough that I think everybody would understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
and it's like sense. It's the same with like all the social medias. It's like if you get obsessed with any one specific one, like then you take that into the rest of the world. People are like, you're like super psycho obsessed with just Instagram. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
like mix it up. Like get some of the other ones. Or I guess Instagram's not really one of the ones I would prescribe that to. But like Facebook, like nobody's just obsessed with Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you're probably going to go to other sites. Like even the right wing and left wing people go to their other places.
Facebook's kind of like a jumping off point.
Yeah, definitely, very much so. And that's what they wanted to be. You know, they probably wanted to compete with Google in terms of like where people get their stuff. But you can't even get news in I think Canada. They just said no more news.
What
on Facebook?
Oh, on Facebook. Oh, well, that's I don't know if I disagree with that.
It's a country that isn't America, obviously.
Because that's pretty sweet if you're looking at the scope of like, you know, let's stop using a platform where people are meant to connect as something that's divisive and people use just to be divisive. And, you know, people, you know, there's still something to be said about like the freedom to like still do what you want. But it is nice maybe if they're trying to do that.
It's Europe.
Europe?
It's the UK, France, and Germany will no longer have dedicated tab to news.
Nice. That's cool.
I think that's the correct one.
Yeah. Who knows if we'll be I don't know, mature enough to do that, but
well, yeah. I mean, they just don't want people to. They don't want everything to get like sensationalized, and also, you know, they don't want a debate happening in like a forum that is that like toxic and flammable. I mean, nobody's posting on Facebook to change their mind. They're getting on there to either argue or to agree. Yeah. So it's like
or to post photos.
It's basically pointless. So it's like if you want to debate somebody on the thing that you see, go somewhere and do it, or go into like a forum where they're talking more about that, and you can get educated first before diving into like an opinion or whatever. I mean, there just should be more steps. That's all I'm saying. Like, and that's why you're saying you don't disagree with it being off Facebook, I feel like. Because then you just have to go find the news that you want to know.
Well, it's like the news.
Or just go on Twitter where you've subscribed to everybody who you like specifically, and it's arranged in a neat little line. You can scroll.
Also, I'm just wondering, you know, like I'm sure it was probably a marketing technique, but whatever happened to just having the ads on the side in the margins? There's nothing wrong with that, and it wouldn't ruin a feed where you're scrolling and it's just every like several posts it's an ad.
That's probably one of the first things they wanted to get rid of, though. That's why they like everything streamlined. They like it streamlined in like one spot, so you can do everything from one area, and that way your eyes can't avoid the ad because you're scrolling.
Yeah,
it's all to get you so you can't avoid it.
Yeah, it's just.
Same with those like the ads.
I guess I have an ethical qualm with
when you're going through the stories and you're like
quandary,
smashing through the people that you see, and then you hit like 3 ads in a row, and you're like, Jesus Christ! Yeah. I'm never gonna pay for Instagram Premium, and I don't think anybody would. But these ads are getting wild. But I think that's also because you don't have to linger on them. That's why they don't care. But some of them, I'll say this, like as a person who does consume stuff and like wants to support the things that I support, like I'll watch like an anime that I like or play a game that I like pretty quick after it comes out.
Yeah.
But then I'll see ads for it and I'll be like, I wish there was a button to say stop suggesting this ad because I'm
I've
doing
seen
it and it worked
Yeah,
on me
I've
and
had
I'm
it.
playing it, or I'm already playing it. You don't have to spend more money on
Yeah.
advertising this.
Well,
It's like a magnanimous button,
yeah,
like to help them out.
yeah. Back to the AI. What's it called AI curation the idea.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
another
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, that would give it like a
filter
bonus
it
to
out.
being like, oh, you did that, so I can link you to other things that are like that.
Yeah.
So at least it kind of gives it that like idea. It's weird. I definitely feel like it could be more hands on after you're already in it, because every time you sign up for like a thing, it's like, what are you into? Click now, and then it subscribes you to a bunch of shit against your
Dude,
will.
I'm so tired of filling out things for websites.
Oh yeah,
It's like the app thing, just like so many apps.
yeah,
There's an app for that.
yeah. I haven't downloaded a single app in a while. I guess I got a couple. Nope, not since the stream. I guess the streaming ones I just have.
Yeah. The
But
last one I downloaded was Disney Plus.
nice.
But that was so I could, stream
Right.
Marvel shit.
I mean, I
sometimes if I'm
downloaded
going to
Chat
sleep.
GPT forever ago and have not used it one time.
Yeah.
It's just there now. Maybe I should get it off.
I was using
It's just
it
not
right after I
useful.
got it, and yeah, I haven't.
It's not
needed
getting
it.
me off, so I need to get it off my phone.
Yeah.
It's not serving its
ChatGPT,
intended purpose, which is simulate a girlfriend.
Yeah. You
To,
gotta simulate
to say
a
sweet nothings
relationship,
in a digital format.
right? I'm trying to connect here.
Right? I was trying to be one of the guys that they write the articles about. He married the Chat GPT. See what kind of freak this guy is.
Like ChatGPT was so good to me.
Right, I think it was like
It's kind of pandering.
a bunch of years ago where I saw an article about a guy marrying his wife's simulator in his Switch. And I was just like, this isn't surprising. And then that's going to keep happening here soon. People are going to be like, whoa. And I'm like, what's
Let these nerds.
what is the
marry
difference? I
these
mean,
avatars.
maybe you just don't want them to enjoy
What?
the tax breaks
it's
of
not
a married
your brand
couple.
of weird. It's not, is
yeah,
that
exactly.
it? Get out of here. People.
I mean, but what's the purpose of it anyway? Why even call it marriage? Though at that point, maybe we get some weird
bonding.
Semantical arguments going on in there.
Well, I mean, I guess I would say only call it marriage if you get a tax break.
Yeah,
because that is the real benefit. Also, other than like the fulfillment that people.
But if
get
you marry
out
a
of the
non-human
ceremony.
entity, are you allowed the tax break? These are the questions.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
These are the questions, folks. The hard-hitting questions that we're going to bring you the answers.
We're gonna.
If you marry a non-human entity,
figure them out.
do you get the tax break? And then, do you have to get a prenup? And if you get divorced, can you smash them in the back of your house, or do you need to let them go back out into the world? It's all very confusing. I guess that'd be like having.
If you're listening on YouTube, pop a comment down there and let us know what you think.
I'm gonna backpedal a little bit.
Backpedal. Where are we going? Where are we pedaling back to? Like, are we going all the way home, or just down the street?
Oh my god! But I don't know. I don't have an answer. I mean, I would assume not, because you're not gonna have kids with them necessarily, and if nobody's gonna let you adopt, you'd be like, "Kid, go down and have breakfast. I made you eggs, and you can talk to your digital mom." And then I'm off to my job, and digital mom will babysit you. Just press A every time you want a new simulated response. And you're like, how am I going to get lunch? You're like, virtual sandwich.
Well, so that ultimately means there is also going to be robot like maids or caretakers, butlers, babysitters. I mean, we're just going to have to, robots are going to have to like somehow be programmed in a way to understand the needs of humans, maybe while circumventing the need to understand emotion.
What if they can't afford even a robot and they're just married to like the hologram in their house?
So?
But they can't do anything. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but you can look at the technology. You could be like, here, hologram, your AI is like plugged into this sex body, and I'm just gonna rail it, I guess. And
but think of it before, but we're pre-robots, post weird AIs that you can love, because we're kind of in the AIs that you can love era now. So, I'm not thinking far future. I'm thinking contemporary to new, to possible.
Okay.
New territory.
So that you have the hologram, the AI plugged into just like a small, like vagina-sized sex toy. Then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
still
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
digitally
yeah.
connected. It's not. It's not going to be. You can't afford a sex bot. They're
Sure.
not that mass produced yet.
Sure.
There's not enough demand to make
No.
the price go down. The
I guess
first
you could
rich
get
people
one.
really have to start buying up these robots,
But it
and then
doesn't
they
have
get
the
the price drop.
movement
and the
connectivity
economy.
yet. Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying.
You need
Yeah.
a second or third generation iBot to
Right.
to make sweet relations with.
Well, and that's the thing. The proletariat will have to get the used first generation, or just maybe not a used one, but maybe a refurbished one. Maybe they'll sell those. While the richer kids are going to be like, oh, I've got the new Generation 3 iBot. This one actually
Comes in cup sizes: Generation A,
Yeah.
Generation B, Generation C.
all one size.
And we get to F, and then we go back up to D, double
to
D,
D.
and then.
And
What,
then
somebody say double B in something we were watching the other day?
customizations are like still hundreds of dollars probably at that point, and then let's fast forward like 2 or 3 more
No,
generations.
it's like buying a house. You customize it all at the beginning.
You get a mortgage on it.
Yeah, you customize it all at the
Mortgage
beginning.
robot.
You put a mortgage on it, and then when the mortgage is over, then you marry it.
A marriage.
But we're still talking farther in the future than I'm talking.
A marriage. Okay, so further in the let's back up then.
Marriage.
We're
Some
pulling
say
back
most
on
marriages
the
are
time
mortgage, if you know what I'm saying. So anyway, Adam wins Stars on Mars, everybody.
Spoiler. Woo!
The ice skater wins. He had the
did
most
the most
physical
work.
superiority and did the most work and was arguably the most
He
excited
crushed it.
to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we can wrap on that.
Definitely seemed like a kid a lot of times, especially when they're doing outside stuff.
Yeah.
Seems to like have that kind of chaotic kid energy.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
But a lot more just kind of jazzed about being there and having a good time.
Yeah.
And also doing the mission, which was important. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Stars on
congrats,
Mars.
Adam. Stars on Mars. It's over, folks.
It's over, season 1.
But if they have a season 2, we're going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
we'll be back at it.
Right now, I'm just horrified at these jail situations in 60 days.
Yeah, we're at the
in.
most recent season, which I guess also took place during COVID. And it's terrible.
It is awful.
Yeah.
Just truly horrific.
It's like the smallest space so far, the smallest communal living situation.
And it's all 23 out of 24 hours lockdown, where everyone only gets an hour out, which is absolutely insane.
It kind of feels like a hallway. It's like they get
Yeah.
out into like a hallway basically, and then they have to go back into their cells. I wouldn't even call it like a real
crazy.
room.
Yeah, it's like they're basically in solitary confinement, but just in a regular sentence. It's a nightmare. Stay out of jail, folks, if you can.
And what they have screens. It's not even bars. It's like metal fence
In the ladies' pod,
that's so awful.
It's not even
Like,
doors.
I was talking smack about the full doors, but now I'm like, bring back the doors. I want a whole door.
Yeah.
Anything can get through this.
Yeah, it's
Any smells, anything people can
shocking.
stick stuff through. It's very weird.
When it's just like,
And I think it was another Georgia one, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Henry County,
Yeah.
I believe.
I can look.
Yeah, here I'll talk about. It is bizarre that obviously they're aware they have problems that they're trying to fix. The sheriff seems to be doing a great job at trying to renovate, because he apparently started working at he took leadership of the jail during COVID. And now he said it was deplorable conditions. He said it should have been condemned. And so he's been refurbishing it and trying to work on stuff. And they clearly haven't hit every nail on the head. And that's why he's having the show, obviously. But when you see it, you're like, I still feel like some of these problems would be very obvious on the surface for you to be being the person who's in charge there. I feel like you could still see some of these things. Yeah. But
well, really, just
I don't know.
the whole.
It's kind of crazy.
I think the hardest problem with maybe some of these jails, it's like some of them they just need to build a new jail. That whole building is just bad.
Yeah.
It's not in line with our modern standards of mental health. It's not in line with our modern ideas of how people should be kept.
Yeah.
But because they're not going to get funding for a whole new building like that. They're like, well, we can just make it a little bit better in these small areas, but it's not. It's definitely not better.
Well, and I
This is
wonder
by far
too.
the worst jail
I
that they've
wonder.
been in by far.
Yeah, I mean it's nonplussed in its tepid environment. Like all the floors just look like wet concrete. It doesn't look like it's ever dry. Like looks fucking horrendous for your health just being in there. Lights apparently just on all the time.
Yeah, they put it,
So
and they put
you're never
all,
getting a good sleep cycle
and they put
if
all
people
like
are even quiet enough for you to sleep.
is all former prisoners who've been like served like time in prison and jail
Yeah.
in this season, and they're all like half of them are already caving.
Half of them are breaking.
They were like,
It's
everything
crazy.
hurts, everything's terrible, people are screaming too much, it's not calm, and I'm like, man,
That's just a few days in.
I can't even deal with this over here. Jeez.
Yeah. I know it's shocking, yeah, but with them having, I think, a combined 40 plus years in jail, like experience,
Some of them
that
prison.
they're just like, yeah, some of them like prison for like heavier shit, and just like, man, they're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
a bad
shocking.
situation. Yeah.
It really shows how, like, if you think COVID was bad, just being in a home, imagine being in a cage.
And how much better probably some other prisons are and jails are.
Yeah.
Some of them are probably pretty nice.
How about the Scandinavian ones?
Right? Or show us just one season of 60 Days In where they're like, this jail is not that bad.
Not that bad.
But we just want to send you in and like fully rehab some of these prisoners.
Yeah, send them to like one of those like really rich guy jails and be like, get in on some corporate espionage deals in jail where people are moving big monies from their jails.
I mean, we don't know what that 60 Days Narco Land is yet.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I think there's 2 seasons, maybe, at least 1.
Had a thought and it was gone.
That thought is gone. It took a ride down the memory road. It's like, I'm out of here. This town sucks. I'll be back.
Oh yeah. I was thinking
He's
about
coming back. The prodigal thought.
I was thinking about like, wanting to follow some of those like jailed peoples afterwards, and probably a lot of the stories are sad, but
yeah.
I was also thinking like, surely they don't like try to hit him up because, I get that. It's probably nice to like open up with somebody, but knowing that they lied to you for like 2 straight months and were a plant and you're like a jailed person and you don't like respect that. It's hard to like, even if that you were best friends and like cut hands open and shook blood hands, you'd probably still be like, I think I hate that guy.
You betrayed me.
I think I hate that guy for the rest of forever.
I mean, personally, I would just
be hard to get over. That's for
just
sure.
Outside regular life, I would have a hard time with that if someone was like, "Oh, so I've been literally a different person
Deceiving
for like the last 2 months,
undercover free person."
Actually, that's kind of what it's like when you move in with like people you don't really know as like roommates. That's kind of what that's like, and it doesn't go well. You're just like, "Oh, this is not what I thought."
Oh, like finding out they're actually crazy.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just like, oof, oopsies.
Or just more than you bargained for.
More than you bargained for, or at least, just like, wow, charisma goes a long way to hiding some things.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I think things definitely change paradigm-wise when you're spending lots of hours with a person. I mean, the biggest fights I had with the guys I was doing illegal things with, it was literally just because we didn't like have any space and we were like living together on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I was like basically all on the same couch for like 10 hours a day.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Like hanging out, smoking weed. And when we're not on the couch together, we're doing things together. And it's like, sometimes I just don't want to see your face, man. And it's like, I was sleeping on that couch and they chose to sleep on that couch. They didn't have to.
Whoa.
And I was just like, God damn you guys, I'm going to go to sleep. But I also moved in post a breakup. So it was all kind of circumstantial, but I was definitely like, we got to move. We got to move somewhere. We got to get out of this house.
Yeah, that sounds very rough. And being in a place with like 3 people, like, because that's been my experience the last 3 living situations where I've lived with other people that I didn't know, like, as relatives. And I mean, it's like night and day how different those other experiences were compared to like how smooth I feel this one is. This one is like, it works well and I think we all get along, but man, if I got along with one out of the other of the other two
Yeah.
for those other two situations, and it's so different because then you're just like, wow, it feels like we're all trying to be chill, but this one person's so, I don't know, like just out of the sync, like I guess kind of reading the room in the sense of being in the same space and like how to conduct oneself, and you're just like, ugh. We both are kind of like, well, we know they're not awful, but this is crazy, like I don't know. This is just a weird tangent to go down.
Yeah.
Roommates. Hey, I'm happy to be here. This is great.
That's funny. Do you want to do one of these stories?
Yeah,
Gotta
let's do
crank
it.
some of them out so I can get them out of my saved
Get them
list.
out of your brain.
Found this horrible story on NPR, their Instagram. I'm gonna see if I can put it on the speaker.
Right.
And it's gone away to the scientists to find out what it was. So immediately called the infectious diseases doctors and asked, what should we do next? It was definitely not what we were expecting. Everyone was shocked. And the worm that we found was happily moving quite vigorously outside of the brain. I dissected around the abnormal area that you can see on the scan.
So this lady found like a 3-inch worm in a person's brain that was living alive.
Jeez, that's
That's
unsettling.
the world's first case of this happening,
Oh,
where a woman was like alive and living with a
creature between the skull and the brain.
yeah.
Jeez,
Like looked like that.
my God.
And it was like swimming around and living. Yeah, it's pretty whack.
So it means there's a new type of worm.
Yeah, that's just scary. It's Australia, so obviously everything in
Oof.
Australia is trying to kill
Keep
you.
Australia
It's just
out of here.
It's just a different version of that. I feel like going to Australia, just if you're gonna do it,
Tell those stars on
just
Mars
for
people be like,
funsies.
there's brain worms.
yeah, I mean,
down
wear
there.
a suit. That's why they were wearing the suit in the Australian
Yeah.
wilds. They were like, "Don't. It's not about taking it off to simulate space. Don't take it off just in case something
So
wild
nature
shows
doesn't
up
kill
and
you,
kills you. A
right?
sea animal is gonna pop up on land and take you out. You're gonna get a worm parasite by breathing in the
You're gonna get
strange dust.
hit by part of that one tree that just makes you feel pain and makes you kill yourself because it's so extremely painful. I always forget what it's called, but look it up. JMO.
But yeah, it's pretty terrifying. I thought that was interesting. I thought it was interesting that it was popping up in like some medical news.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, definitely horrifying. Yeah, it's fun. It's just the more things to be afraid of, but also not really because you can't do anything about it. So it's like be afraid of snails and worms, guys. The two things that are gonna keep the whole world turning are gonna take us out. That and angry people. So
Yeah.
take one of those off your list. Get away from the worms. I'm just kidding. Worms are great. You need the worms. Get the angry people out of your life so that all you have to worry about are snails and worms. Those are the main fears, everybody.
Yeah,
They're
snails,
the main fears.
worms, mosquitoes. Also, I would add to that list based on what we've seen in our previous research. Was that episode 5? Maybe 4.
Well, you can't avoid mosquitoes. I mean,
knows?
I have like 10 active mosquito bites right
We
now.
got all this water in our
This
house.
very second. I mean that and the standing water from our
Yeah.
freaking sprinklers. Like we're not in Phoenix, Arizona. What's going on?
Right.
Cut off these
Getting all this
sprinklers.
rain,
Let
too.
some of this water die.
All right. So also we covered the worm one. We got a couple other things on here. We got data storage. We got power usage. Those the other ones. We got festivals.
Let me get this other one off the list.
Yeah.
So that because it's been on here for a minute. It's
Oh, yeah,
actually
the
a
top one.
a slightly old story.
Okay.
But
Or the other.
it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
man with 84 children and 17 wives.
Wild.
Hear it from his own mouth. Here you go, everybody. Oh, damn it. Hang on.
How many children do you have?
84.
84.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 70 wife, my.
17 wives.
Yes.
That's a lot of wives.
Yeah.
I have one wife, which is in
Yeah,
he can understand
Maybe.
This guy's losing it over the one word.
Hello, what's your name?
It's crazy.
wild.
Yeah, right? Can you imagine?
No.
And the dude laughs at him like, why would you only want one?
Yeah.
Have more.
I'm going to have all my kids
Have
ruling this
more.
world. That guy's playing the long game. He's playing the Genghis Khan game.
I just love his attitude at the other guy being like, I only have one. It's like, instead of being like, well, we each got to do our own thing. He's just like, you suck. What are you doing? I'm great. My sperm is amazing. Look at all these kids. Look how gray my face is.
Oh, yeah. He
Look at
was
my
like,
hot youngest
one wife.
Yeah. He's like, I'm still dating. I'm going on a date tomorrow.
Whoa. So
It's
if
just
he is
crazy.
playing the Genghis Khan game, and by that I mean just playing the long con,
Yeah. Long on.
right? I'm drawing a blank.
That one had all punchlines. Zero tag.
Yeah. What is face review?
Oh, well, I
What
want to
is
have a
that?
funny discussion about that sub I found, subreddit, because I lurk Reddit way too much. But it started popping up in recommendations. I don't know how their algorithms calibrate recommendations, but a good summary of face review as follows is literally any female who looks exactly as she would through just normal puberty standards, reaching 19 to 17 to 20 something, looking pretty quite normal and regular and being like, how do I look? And every comment is just like, you're fine, you're normal, you're great. I'm like, this is so bizarre. And occasionally it's like some baddie that like looks super hot and you're just like, well, obviously you're hot. What are you doing here?
Well,
And I feel like I haven't seen one single
things
honest
going on in the
one.
brain.
Like I see honest reviews on like, am I the asshole a lot? Like not, or some people are like, yeah, you are. Like they'll tell a person like, yeah, you're an asshole for the way you did it. But I haven't seen a single negative face review at all. It's all just like, yep, you look great.
Nice.
I mean, roast me is for that, I guess, for the negativity. But nobody even like, I mean, what are you supposed to contribute to like just a person's face if you're trying to be generally positive? But also, like, you can be like, get more piercings. Like, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's like, what are you
Wear
grading
makeup.
it on? Just like,
Or don't wear makeup. Both of those are unacceptable answers.
yeah.
Smile
okay.
more. Don't smile
Ooh.
more. Also unacceptable answers.
My own personal preference, I prefer people who at least are comfortable not wearing makeup because I like to see what you look like. You know, I
Yeah,
feel
but
like
if they put
I'm
it on and you're like, they're like, how does it look? You're not going to be like, take it off.
No, I'm not gonna be
Take
like, take
it
it off.
off.
I'll let you know. Like, be like, oh, like, I guess I would critique makeup more artistically, like, or be like, no, like,
That's
wait,
still the
wait,
wrong
wait.
answer.
I'm just describing my process. Give me a second. I mean, in the sense of being like, I'd be try to see if it was like symmetrical enough, or be like, just try to help, like,
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure it looks nice.
I get you.
And be like, oh yeah, like, oh, you just
missed
need
a
to touch
spot,
up. Yeah,
that
you
kinda
missed a
thing.
spot. Try to be
Yeah.
helpful
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But I would be positive, because if it's your choice to like wear makeup, then I would want to help you get the achieved goal that you're trying to look for as close as you can. But I'm also not a makeup artist, so I just try to give what advice I could if
Oh yeah,
asked.
That just
also.
reminded me. Good recommendation for shows is the Makeup Star show on Netflix. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun.
Pretty wild.
Do a lot of cool special effect face painting, and it's pretty neat. Pretty cool what
pretty
people do on the
cool.
faces.
Very neat.
But I don't know. I think it's funny. I think it's funny that the way certain parts of the internet have devolved into being like, tell me something basic and random that I don't want to tell myself. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
finding
kind
therapy.
of just like
and-
finding brutal honesty.
Well, yeah, finding
out in the
honesty
wild.
and therapy in like the masses instead of like getting it from like either a friend or a therapist.
Well, I think it's because
And, you
people are
know-
too afraid to ask their friends to be like,
Yeah.
give me an honest opinion of me.
That's probably true too.
Because that is a weird request and kind of daunting at the same time.
Right.
Like, it creates a lot of interesting avenues for that to
It could
go,
also
as
hurt your
opposed to
feelings forever.
Yeah, as opposed to consulting people you don't have to care about.
So you never hear those words out of not their mouth.
Yeah. You can just ask some people. It's like going out to a street corner being like, am I good?
Yeah.
And then people will tell you. They'll be like, fuck off.
Right?
Leave me alone. Kick rocks.
Right,
Or be
right.
like, yeah, you good.
Right? That's that would be a fun,
What
that's a
people will
fun
tell
idea is like what, like if you could start storefronts of like subreddits, yeah, right. Ideas. If you could
Ideas.
start a storefront of like subreddits where you just go in and like get the discussion or like subject of whatever you want. Obviously, big popular ones. It's not going to be like super niche small ones, but like you just go into like a storefront that's like, damn, that's interesting, and it's just like gifs of pretty stuff on big screens. It's like a display kind of place in the mall.
Sounds like an NFT store.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's that. There's a place in Fashion Square that we haven't been to, but it's just like 4 rooms with just like some wacky shit in it. It's like a red room with some stuff and like a white room.
Like just some art stuff?
Yeah,
in there?
yeah.
Like I guess like Instagram selfie fodder?
No, because
Or
there is a
camera
place
fodder?
for that.
Oh, okay.
There's a different
There's a
different
different
store
spot
for
for
that in Fashion Square that
That's
looks cheesy as hell, but it also looks a little fun. It looks like
Yeah, I'm sure it's a good time.
it looks like they took the idea for photo booths that used to exist and just said we're just going to turn that into a storefront
Yeah.
with photo booth and props, and you just have to use your cell phone for the
That's pretty
selfies.
cool.
It's not a bad idea overall, but
What am I supposed to do with the purple feather?
yeah, exactly. Photo booth with props. Yeah, so it's there. It's definitely an option. But that other one, the spaces, I think if you expounded on that idea, that would be an interesting thing. Just be like r/. I don't know what any of the popular ones are. I don't go on.
Yeah.
I don't go on the popular ones enough anymore. Or like, whoa, they're just all visual. They just be all visual mediums.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you just reach out to the artists and be like, I'm using this. Because instead of going around,
Or
maybe,
like,
maybe I'm
or,
just
you
rehashing
know,
a dumb idea.
No, or I was just gonna say, or like, you can always ask artists if you can use their stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the current culture of just using platforms to rip other people's stuff to repost it to pretend it's your own content by being
Yeah.
like, this is a nature page, and then
Yeah.
you scour nature content that filters through your stuff and repost it
Yeah.
as if it's yours.
Yeah,
And
for
like,
sure. I mean, that's-
people usually like tuck the credit below the actual bar, so you have to click on it if you want to see the actual credit. And I think that's shady. I think that's just a behavior that I'm not a fan of. Yeah, you can do it, whatever, but
I mean, I would almost blame
disagree.
like Tumblr on that. I feel like Tumblr was like the original like fan page bullshit. Everybody's just posting
Yeah.
like dumb nonsense of like the same. Like some artists will be like, "This is my art thing," and then that piece of art gets reposted a zillion times on Tumblr just because people are like, "I like this piece," because they had a reblogging feature back in the day,
Yeah.
and most fan pages would just be reblogs of other people's stuff, and that was like. I feel like where Instagram is now is where Tumblr was like 15 years ago.
Well, and it's like Instagram never even had a good repost function. Like there was always the repost app, which was
Yeah.
a separate thing.
Yeah.
And then like, you could post stuff to stories, but you can never just be like, I would like to repost this, please.
Well, yeah, because they want you to have your curated page if you have reposted stuff, which they do now, because you can just turn a reel or turn a reel or a story into a post. So if you make
Yeah.
those things, and then that's how fan pages do their whole thing now easily. Instagram is just like, we can make you do this without even trying. And it's like they do that with everything. They do it with like comedy, they do it with anime, they do it with music. It's just like a circle of stuff where like the creators aren't getting like any of their stuff, which is also, I feel like, with the strike being on the level of everything, it would be nice if they could crack down on like people making, I know like fan made stuff is fine and like people who aren't making money out of stuff, but how long were those Family Feud videos of like going around Facebook of whatever, just be like a Family Feud clip, 10 million views, and then you go to the page and it's like business advice.
Yeah.
Get $10,000 now. And you're like, this is just a troll page for like people to click links because they liked your Family Feud video. Where's Family Feud?
Yeah.
Get in on this,
Or,
you guys. Get these people to stop posting your clips.
Yeah. Or
Like
it's like
all individual creators just have to track every movement that their digital stuff makes, which I mean, I guess
crazy.
you could do that with like,
But it's like
a lot of
it's
encrypted
like
stuff.
adding extraneous tags to like porn videos just so you can get those
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
curated like zeitgeist
Yeah.
follows, even if it has nothing to do with it. It's
Right.
just so you can ride that wave of likes
slapping 10 things on
algorithm
the end.
yeah, the algorithm wave, I guess is the best way to put it. Man, a lot of water metaphors, analogies, I guess.
Right. You could say the people with those farms are the men with 17 wives and 84 kids of the internet.
Yeah.
They're like, you only have one page? I have 17 pages, and I don't do anything.
I have
I just
17
take
pages,
things from all these other
84
people
podcasts.
and repost it all. That's what I almost became at that spirit science job. I was just like reposting stuff for like 3 straight weeks. It was boring.
Yeah, that
We're
sounds
just,
wild.
it's like, let me do something else. They were like, no, we don't need anything else right now.
Jeez.
And I'm like, well, then why am I here? They were like, that's a good question.
Whoa. That's
Yeah, it's
not what
funny.
you want to hear on the job.
I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not a yes man. So,
yeah.
you know, if something's out of my depth, I'm just going to be like, I can't do that. I'm not going to be like, yeah, sure. Like, I can lie to you and maybe figure it out behind your back. Like, no, because then you're going to
That's
yell at
crazy.
me in 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a
Just do
yelly
the
guy,
thing.
which that guy was for sure,
Mm.
like, I'm not going to lie
Yeah.
just to disappoint. I'd rather disappoint on the surface.
Although personally, if someone is someone who tends to yell or do things like that, I'm always a huge fan of when they don't get their way. Not because it makes them want to yell, but because I'm just like, your obstinance has cost you,
Oh, yeah.
and it's costing you now.
Right,
Like,
right. Yeah, definitely.
Which is, you know, to at least.
I mean, that's the route that that I took in that situation for sure. I just backed down and was just like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do the job that I've been given because I can't do any of these other jobs these other guys are doing, and then this isn't working out. In like a month, I'm going home.
Yeah. It's
And then
like
we all went home. It didn't matter. So
yeah, it may not be popular, but I think there's something to be said for one's work self and workplace like honor. There's just something to it where, you know, if you'll just do anything just so you can try to get more money, okay, cool, that's good on you, but not a fan personally. You gotta be good at what you do and respect that you made that choice to be there.
yeah, at least be able to do the thing that you're
Do-
saying you're going to
yes.
do.
Be able to do the job. If you can do the job, talk about it as much as you want. But if you talk a big game and you can't do the job, get out of the kitchen because you're in everybody's way. If you want to look at the trees, you got to pay for the seeds.
Oh my God.
I've gotten a lot of different refs in this
I know,
episode.
I
I'm
know.
hoping people pick up on them.
No.
Like different refs from different media. If you like Easter eggs, I've got ref
Oh my
Easter
God.
eggs. Refster eggs. Reefster eggs. Man, another ocean
Reefs.
joke.
Reefs.
We're watching some ocean videos in the background, some calm videos of turtles and reefs and like little fish. It's very nice, and it's fueling these metaphors.
Yeah, the morphing
and
octopus a few
analogies.
minutes ago was pretty sweet.
Yeah, the
Changing
octopus
colors, turning into a
and
rock.
expanding that
Not
membrane
iRock,
between its
but a
legs,
rock.
and then it would retract it. That
Yep.
was weird.
Oh yeah,
So,
it's cool.
Octopi are crazy.
I watched a video of one like ballooning itself the other day, just like expanding all the like in between tentacle stuff. And it, like
Yeah.
got all the way down to like the bottom of its
Yeah.
tentacles. I was like, what?
How does that even
I
happen?
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That membrane, like
That's like having no
Oh,
fabric
I-
between your pants and then stretching the middle of your pants.
suddenly you're
all the
wearing
way down
harem
to your
pants.
feet. Yeah. It's like, pew, there. It's stretched now. And then, but you're also still wearing your original pants.
right? It's like you've just got a little drawstring. You can be like up and we're up,
And then you're
And
also
down.
like, my brain are in my feet. This is so weird.
right? And you're like, how many feet do I have? You don't even know how many feet. This is octopus feet,
Right?
tentacles.
How weird. Do they have another, if all their brains are in their arms, do they have a brain in their noggin?
I don't remember.
So it's like, is that like controlling your eyeballs from like your hands and feet? I bet that's weird.
Well, but that's where I think it gets into the question of, are we really creatures that we control and exist out of our heads, or are we more of a gestalt thing? But because of our eyes being so visual, we perceive the world as if we exist in
Oh
our
yeah,
heads.
I mean that's we don't understand what it is to be a bat problem. That philosophy thing.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I mean I get that.
'Cause
Like,
it's like if you
in
adjust
its own body, it's not weird. Is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
yeah, when it's like, I don't know. It's like if you have.
I'm
if
not
you- if-
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying is the concept like trying to control your eyes with your feet and hands. Because I mean that's kind of like what it's doing.
I don't know. That's hard. It's hard. It's hard to imagine. Maybe
I would say yes.
yeah. I mean, if we want to say you're controlling it from the brain, then yes, I agree 100%. If they've got brains in the arms, then it's like controlling your feet or your body from your feet.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Happens. Yeah, that happens so much where we're like on the same page, but we approach it from a different way. I do that a lot
No,
with Rachel
I understand that it's hard to conceptualize and it would be weird to do, but
Yeah.
it would be like thinking, or it'd be like being in your hands and feet and then being like move or knowing, because we know. The only difference between us and them is that we know that our brain is up here and our hands and feet are down there.
Yeah.
And our eyes are closer to our brain than our hands and feet. But an octopus doesn't necessarily know that its arms, its brains are in its arms and its eyes are farther than its arms.
Well, the question
versus a fish.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at the fish and go, it's weird that his eyes are by its brain versus my brain's being in my arms.
There's not like the idea
knowing
of
is the difference.
separation.
Yeah.
Because there's not the knowing as far as we know, which is the problem with
that's
knowing.
why I was giving the octopus a little bit of credit. I mean, they're probably like
they
smart enough to
seem
know that like
pretty intelligent.
yeah. But I mean, they probably just eat all of things, so they probably don't observe other creatures that much.
They like crab, they like crustacean, they like fish.
I was watching this horrible video of a crab eating 2 other small crab. And I was just like, God damn.
It's like a big triangle eating some smaller triangles.
Fucking horrible monsters.
Just way more complex.
Sure, that's not exactly what I was thinking.
Well, I'm just thinking of the fractal nature of it.
Just thinking more of a nightmarish cannibal idea.
It's awful. Yeah,
but I mean, it's probably like
it's
eating
like being eaten
lesser
by a giant.
involved.
You're just like
being eaten by a giant or
no,
like a strong monkey. He's just like, I'm breaking you open.
Jeez, that's horrific. That's not what you want.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Of course not.
I definitely
I agree.
Some of those animal videos, you're like, I wish I hadn't seen that, but I'm glad I know it now. But damn it, it's terrible. But now I feel bad when people talk about feeling bad for crabs and lobsters. Like they're just monsters. So just eat them. If you're gonna eat them, crunch them up and eat them. They're monsters.
In the nature of how they approach life, they are very brutal. So like they're definitely competitive creatures in how they get mates and like.
Plus, they always have weapons, so you can always claim assault with a deadly weapon when you're fending one off for dinner.
A claw with a deadly weapon. A claw.
No, that's what you're trying to put on them. You're trying to assault them a little bit.
Claw you're putting salt on them with butter. You gotta. That's better. Better butter. It's better crab.
Beer better.
Crab salt.
Beer better.
Beer better butter.
Fries?
Crab salt. Fries. Crab.
I hate
crab
fries so bad.
Crab salt. You don't like
it
crab
just sounds
salt?
like a salt flavored or like a crab flavored salt, which is probably would be tasty.
Right.
But then you look at the ingredients and you're just like, oh God, it's
or
10 different kinds of fish and there's no
brand
crab.
of seafood seasoning. Crab salt. Come buy some crab salt.
Like try to get
crab,
some crab salt lays
shack,
and then you read the ingredients and it's like swordfish, yellowfish, tuna.
This is evaporated fish.
Salmon, every other kind of fish. And you're like, this is supposed to be crab salt. And they're like, it tastes like it, doesn't it? And you're like, weirdly, it does.
No. It's not crab salt. You put it on crab.
You use it to assault a crab.
It
when
kills
you're beating
crabs.
it up.
It's like, when you put salt or ash around a thing to keep it from getting cursed. It's like that.
It can't get out.
Except for crabs.
It can't get out.
It's like keeping snails out of your house with lines of
crabs
salt.
Actually just hate processed foods.
That's why salt's so valuable through history, not just because it was a seasoning and it was like you're worth your salt because salt's important for preservation, but also because you keep out snails, you keep out the plague, keep out the crabs.
That's probably why
Crab
they were
salt.
putting it around houses.
Yeah.
When they thought they were warding off spirits. It's probably just keeping out salt and snails.
Plague snails. Keep these. Salt is so important. There's a book, I can't remember, I think it's just called Salt, about like the history of salt and how important it is. It's pretty wild.
The complexities of trying to use diatomaceous earth are crazy. It's
Dude,
like
diatomaceous earth is creepy because it's got to be health
food grade.
Yeah. Or else you're
It's the
inhaling
worst.
these tiny sharp razor skeletons.
Yeah, every time anybody brings it up online, it's those exact two arguments. It's like, get food grade or death. And everybody else being like, it's just death. And I'm like, we've used it before.
Having literally
I'm
used
still
it
alive.
during a flea infestation at one point when I had my cats, which was an awful experience. But, you know, I used diatomaceous earth, and I also used a home remedy of just taking a light, shining it over a bowl of water with some dish soap in it, and it would attract the fleas, and they would jump towards it, land in the bowl, and then the dish soap would trap them, and they'd die in the water. So it's that, and then diatomaceous earth just kind of lightly sprinkled everywhere in the corners, and I think I sprinkled it pretty much on my regular floors too, and then vacuumed it up.
Yeah,
like a lot
we
of
used
bodies.
it to deal with ants in our one bedroom.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a razor wire for bugs.
Right.
And they're like, oh, my exoskeleton.
I mean, show me that under a super microscope.
Right?
Get rid of these weird metal twisting videos on Instagram. It just shows me weird zoomed in things. And I'm like, nothing's happening. They're just twisting metal. It looks like I could just get some like gummy snacks and stretch them and be like, look at this in a video.
Ooh,
whoa.
That's actually a fun idea. Let's stretch Sour Patch Kids. Let's stretch Swedish Fish.
See which ones can stretch the most.
Twizzlers, Sour Punch straws.
Have a stretch tier list.
Laffy Taffy. Oh,
Right.
man, don't steal this idea
We
if
could
you're
try
listening to it. TM, this idea. Verbal trademark. The idea.
Nice.
Well, I guess I'm just trademarking the word.
Maybe we'll just try to find like
a
a variety pack so we don't have to buy entire bags. Or I
Yeah.
guess we get little packs.
get a variety
I have them like
candy
Five
pack.
Belows.
I was gonna say we could go to Five Below and just pick up a bunch of stuff. Try different candies. Try a bunch of sour things. Really mess up the mouth.
Yeah, oh God. Right, and then
You know.
recover for 4 days.
Yeah, it'd be pretty
Now
good.
I'm only drinking soups and hot water breakfast.
It's like here,
Recover
no.
from severe
How
sugar
about some
overdose.
cereal?
Ugh.
You want some Cookie Crisp?
Tear it
a bowl
up.
of
Tear
nails
up
for
to the top of
breakfast
your
without
mouth.
any milk?
Nope, it's some Captain Crunch for me. I like to have a
I
torn
think he's
top mouth
technically a commander.
and
or,
a numbed
No,
tongue.
he is a captain.
I like my tongue to
Apple?
also be numb from the sheer amount of sugar that I've consumed, and a torn mouth. That's Captain
Is
Crunch.
that where the phrase tongued furlably numb?
What?
That was a hard one. That was a hard sell on that.
There was
one.
a CUN in there that I got real crossed up on.
Nah, it just sounded like that.
I've become
Try saying that.
numb.
Try saying that. Tongue turfly numb.
Comfortably numb is pretty funny, actually. I don't hate that.
Comfortably numb.
No, with an N.
Okay, just comfortably numb.
numb.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's too lewd
I mean, this
for
is
too
this
lewd
is
for
an
the
18
title.
plus episode. Always,
yeah, too lewd for the
always,
title, but I
all
like
episodes.
it nonetheless. Too lewd for the title, but I like it nonetheless.
Oh yeah. We haven't found a title, so we got to keep on going.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no,
Nope.
it'll be good.
No way.
Let's talk about one more thing on
No
here.
way.
Let's talk about something about like. Let's talk about this data storage thing. So like the idea of like where are we going to put all the data that we keep accruing? Just food for thought. Really, in general, it's just like, is it going to cause? I don't know. Like, is it possible to cause a singularity because we've compressed too much data? Because there is a finite amount of data you can compress at some point, I believe.
No, it's causing the singularity.
So the singularity is not just a metaphor for the coming together of like, or as I think Terence McKenna put it, the concretions of like ideas and technology. It's also literally the data
Yeah, I mean, if we
accrual.
think about it in like my like thought dimension method is that like we're basically pushing towards where we're generating everything all the time constantly, and we're also accepting everything constantly. And I feel like once we're there, we're almost like synergized with just ideas as an existence. Like if we can't imagine a thing, the computer's going to imagine it. And whatever you've imagined, somebody's already imagined on a computer 17 times.
So just everything's happening everywhere. So just
yeah,
what,
and
does this just
it's
cascade?
only
What do you
it's
think
only
happens?
limiting at the moment on our decision for it to happen. But once we start automating a lot of stuff, then our only limitations will be telling the computers to stop doing it because it's all just going to be there. I mean, I don't, aside from all history before a certain amount of time where we're not recording stuff. So like we're obviously not going to backtrack. So in my opinion, the singularity is only going to be truly composed of of stuff up to a certain point that we believe, and then everything else that has been recorded by known things. Kind of like, this is a weird thing I always thought when we would cover in history class. It's like we would always get up to like right before I was like born, like in like elementary school.
Yeah.
Like third, fourth grade. It's always like you get up to like World War II, touch a little bit on the Cold War, and then that's like always the end of the school year. And I'm just like, but it's like 1998. Like what happened in
to the rest of the history?
1994? What happened in 1992? It's like, I guess it wouldn't be in the books that soon, but it's also like, why don't ever, like at a young age, they weren't ever showing us like current things. And I feel like because they had a hazy picture overall.
Yeah.
And they were just giving us what they knew, quote unquote knew as the history people.
Well, especially like looking at like, how we have the internet now, but then thinking about like being pre-internet or like early stage internet. And like, people are still like communicating, but there's more lag and like, it's like light delay in, space travel or like time for space travel, like where it's just like there's distance between information. So it's like, oh shit. So it's like the storage is ultimately just a smaller representation of that, where we're compressing distance between the time it takes for information to get from place to place and the access that entails.
Yeah. And it's also because the concepts are going to get bigger. Things like,
so it's like
we don't ever use
automotive thought dimension.
Yeah. Like we don't even use
that's the episode
like
title.
Certain we don't even use certain genres for like naming of like a movie aesthetic anymore. We use like Wes Anderson or whatever. So it's like that whole swath of like just looking at things a certain way, coming from thought. Like you can say a thing and that instills something in somebody's mind. Put that in every computer all over the world, then every single computer is able to generate from each conceptual, like specific thought, all of the different ideas to do, from there. It's like we're creating an infinity drive of ideas without anybody's hands on the wheel, except for like the horniest and the most imaginative. But also like, they're trying to make new stuff, but they can't because of what it's drawing on. So they have to, you still make original stuff. And the only thing that the computers are rendering is like, this is Batman if it was cold.
Yeah.
This is Batman if it was yesterday, or like.
And we're not deleting all these photos.
No, none of it's getting deleted either. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Just aggregating all of these things. All of
I think
this
our
library of
the conceptual space is getting huge.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why fashion is getting so crazy, because it's like, the stuff people are considering like fashion, high fashion, is like just something either tiny or big based on just normal clothes. Because nobody's making like a new piece of clothes anymore. We did that.
So they're inundated in the fashion thought dimension.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're,
that's the episode
it's always
title.
going, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Fashion thought dimension. You think fashion's stranger.
Yeah.
I'm doing references.
Let's get these refs out here.
But yeah, it's definitely merging. I always think there's like a scene in the end of Full Metal Alchemist where like this one character is trying to like fuse with God, and like he's like pulling him down from like kind of like a dimension that opened up above Earth.
Yeah.
And he's got like a bunch of little tiny black hands like reaching up, and then he's reaching up, and it's got a bunch of like tiny black hands reaching down, and they're kind of like grabbing, and he's like pulling it down. And it ultimately doesn't like work out because of things the characters are doing, but that's what I think, or like imagine when like humanity is reaching towards like everything that we've imagined up to this point is like now a collective instead of it being like separate. Because we don't even, what we can't imagine the computer can do in 10 seconds anyway. So it's like, it's nice. New and original thought's going to be like gold out here.
Well, that seems like good food for thought to end it on. That's wild. I like that. That was a good way of putting it. So this has been episode 10 of the Hackurate podcast.
Episode 10.
The fashion thought dimension. Thank you for listening. I'm Aaron Howell.
I'm Nathan Goodman. See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.